you need to make sure that when you are, researching practices, med spas especially, that you know that you're going to see a medical professional. Most states, not all, but most states require you to have a medical appointment with one of the providers in their practice to make sure that you are physically healthy and that you are able to undergo the types of procedures that you're going to talk about in your consultation. And that's really important.
Welcome to the Beauty Talk podcast, where we feature how the best medical practitioners help their patients to look better, younger, and healthier. Now, enjoy the show, and here's your host.
Daniel Gao here. I'm the host of Beauty Talk, where we feature the top medical practitioners in health and beauty, both inside and out. I have Dr. Erin Hennessey from Blush Aesthetics. Dr. Hennessey is a tenure track professor at Gonzaga University. She completed her education at Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio. And she has 23 years of experience in skin healing and management, including trauma, burn, and reconstructive surgery patients. She is currently the owner of 2 locations of Blush Aesthetics in Northwest Ohio and actively trains in laser physics and injectables. So, Dr. Hennessey, great to have you here on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so let's dive right into it. I'm curious, how did you get interested in aesthetics?
So my first job was actually working in peds ICU and trauma. And so that was the position that was open when I was a brand new baby nurse. And so that's kind of where I started out, and it was serendipitous. So I spent a good deal of my time working with burn patients. We were one of the main burn centers in town. And so we really saw all of those patients. And it fascinated me that we could go from injuring skin to healing skin, doing grafts, and then eventually moving more toward even doing research with lasers to make burnt skin that was scarred act better, look better, function better. And so that healing process, and you really are with those patients for a while. They're hospitalized for a significant period of time, so you almost become family to them a little bit. And so you're taking this journey with your patient in skin healing. And so as I progressed in my career and as I went back to school, became a nurse practitioner, got a doctorate, that really became my research focus. That became what I really wanted to focus on is skin healing and skin health, essentially. And so when I thought about the areas of my practice that I absolutely love doing, most of it was focused on aesthetics and on helping with scars, and just everything involved with skin health was fascinating to me. And so when I wanted to start a business, that's where I wanted to focus.
Got it. Okay, so you really have that entire history of going through the skincare, the skin health, and then now you have the aesthetic practice.
Yes.
So, Dr. Hennessey, can you discuss some of the most popular treatments that your patients come to you for? And also, why do you think it's really popular?
So we probably specialize more in lasers than anything. And, when I look at the practice, it really is probably 50-50 as far as injectables and lasers go. But I think a lot of people are attracted to our location because we really do focus on that journey for the patient, and we really do focus on skin health, mainly with laser treatments. So we have a lot of lasers in our practice. One of our employees call us the laser capital of Northwest Ohio, and I love that nickname. We'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah.
And that's really where we're focused, is on very natural results and helping you age better. There's been kind of a negative connotation with anti-aging. We're all lucky to be aging. We're all lucky to be adding years on the calendar and, being around and having this wisdom. But that doesn't mean that we want to necessarily feel badly about our skin or feel badly about the way that we look. And so we focus on incredibly natural results. So we want you to look like yourself, just a very refreshed version of yourself. And we want to create something that you're, happy with when you're putting your face forward in the world every day. And so I think that focus on natural results is really what attracts people to us. And so I always say we are lucky to have just the best patients. We have the best staff. We have incredibly talented people who share our same vision. And so I think that when you have that, you attract that. And so our patients definitely enjoy, that glowing skin, those really nice results, and still looking like themselves and looking very natural and not looking overdone and not looking too done up per se.
Yeah. I want to dive a little bit deeper into that, because it seems like there's been a little bit more of that resurgence of that natural looking look, the one that's not, oh, you can tell they've had work done, versus like, I want to look better, but I don't want to be to like make it obvious that I have been worked on, and people are focusing more and more on that natural treatment. Is that something that you're kind of seeing where there's more of that interest going in that direction?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a global trend is what we're finding. So when I was speaking to colleagues, I was just in Australia, I got back yesterday, and we had these providers from all over, from South Africa, from Australia, from New Zealand, from Spain, and we were all going out to dinner together. We had this amazing dinner conversation about how we're seeing that transition. People don't want to look weird. They don't want to look alien-like. They don't want to look overdone. They really just want to age well, and they want to look natural. I always say at Blush, like, we're okay with being your best kept secret. No one should know that you're coming to us unless you tell them. We want people to look at you and go, gosh, you look great, and not be able to put a finger on it, but more like, did you just get back from vacation, or did you get really good sleep last night? Like, what kind of bed have you invested in? Are you using a silk pillowcase? What kind of moisturizer? It always comes down to the moisturizer for women. What kind of moisturizer are you using? What kind of makeup? And we just want to, kind of move toward that. I feel like what we've been doing the last couple of years, but it's nice to hear that it's not just us, that that's really a global phenomenon of moving away from that contrived, almost uniform look. When you look at somebody who has had a lot of filler, or who has had, very significant, I would say, kind of old-fashioned plastic surgery where it's just very taut skin, that's a look that you can put your finger on. You're like, I don't know what they've done. I just know that it looks a certain way. And so I think we're moving away from that, which is a bigger challenge for providers. It's much easier just to say, okay, we're just going to put a bunch of filler in your face. And it's far harder to say, where are you aging mostly? Is it in your temples? Is it in your cheeks? Where have you lost volume? How do we bring that volume back? What's the best product to do that with? And then taking a look at your skin and saying, what kind of damage do you have? What bothers you the most? Is it reds? Is it browns? Is it wrinkles? Is it texture? When you look in the mirror, what bothers you? And I always want to know that first. Because if you don't address what bothers your patient, it doesn't matter. Everything else that you do, it could be wonderful. But if you didn't address that problem, they're not going to be happy with their treatment, with their outcome. And so it's really important for me to listen to my patients and understand what they're looking at that they want to improve and what their top priorities are, because I think that's really important.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And thanks for sharing that. Now, is there any new or emerging treatments that you're seeing that you're particularly excited about?
Well, there's so many. I get excited about all of them. I'm kind of a laser geek. So, whenever something new comes out, what we're seeing a lot of, though, is patients that want low downtime treatments. And so Moxie, or the thulium laser, is one that is particularly exciting because it helps with browns, it helps with texture. It's really just going to kind of help polish the skin and give it a glow. So it's great for people who may not be kind of actively in that aging, and I hate to say wrinkling process, but they want to do something to prejuvenate their skin. They want to not see that aging process. They want to help their skin just continue to look really good. Or they have sun damage with minimal texture issues. Or they're like, I just want a good polish. Like, I tend to have genetically larger pores, and I would just like my skin to look fresher. And so that is a almost no downtime laser treatment, because you can wear tinted moisturizer the next day and go about your business, and no one really knows you've had anything done. They might ask if you look tan. We found that because some of that brown spots, as they come up to the skin, and as you cover them, you just kind of have like a bronzy look to you. So we have had people say, no, the only comments I really got in the healing process was like, gosh, you look tan. Did you go somewhere? So that seems to be the only quote unquote downtime, which to some people is a benefit. But I would say between that and broadband light treatments, which are probably that's the one treatment that you will find me making time for every 3 months, like on the dot, without fail. I'm really busy, and I kind of feel like I'm always the carpenter that needs a kitchen built when it comes to treatments, because at the end of the day, I just want to go home. But that is the one treatment that without fail I'm going to get, because it does so many good things for your skin. It helps you actually your skin function like it did when you were in your 20s. So it actually works on the RNA level. And so you're changing genetically how your skin is expressing collagen, how you're making collagen internally in that skin area that you're treating with the light. And so that is one of those solutions that gets down to actually the base instead of just being a Band-Aid solution. And so we use that not only to build the foundation of the skin and to boost other treatments, but we also use it for maintenance. And so I feel like right now, with the Moxie being a little bit newer to the market and with broadband light kind of being like the good old faithful, the combination of those two are just really, really pretty. And I'm really enjoying the combination of those right now.
Yeah, well, it sounds like there's a lot of great treatments out there, new ones for potential patients looking for something like this.
There are, yeah. That, the no to low downtime is great for some people. And then there's others that we just have to have the conversation of, if you want to make a big impact in your skin, sometimes it's going to involve, kind of hanging out indoors in your house for a week or so, really healing that skin, and then, going back out and facing the world. So just depending on the level of correction that's needed in your skin, sometimes depends on how much downtime. And that's really subjective too, to the patient. So I'll go grocery shopping looking crazy, like it doesn't bother me, but some people won't go out and get their mail without, full face of makeup. And I understand that too. And so we try to respect those opinions of our patients and make sure that we are setting those expectations of what the healing process looks like and what the results are going to be.
Okay, got it. Now I want to dive into what differentiates your practice from others in the industry. I know that you talk a lot about your team, so please tell me a little bit more about that.
I feel incredibly lucky, I will tell you, because I would say that we have the most amazing, empathetic, just brilliant nursing staff. I am amazed by them every day, where I love training and I love learning and I love sharing the knowledge I have with them. I learn just as much from them, because as we're all doing this, we're all learning. And so we love having peer-to-peer trainings where we all come together once a month and talk about what I'm doing, how I'm treating this. Oh, by the way, like we did this with this patient and it turned out well. And, maybe that's something that we can start integrating, or maybe that's something that we want to put in our protocols now. They aren't just nurses that are, okay, I'm following these orders and I'm doing these things for our patients, but they're thinkers and they're scientists. And I love that about them. We're all kind of nerdy when it comes to the science aspect, and really the base of what is this molecule doing, or what is this laser doing, and where are we functioning, and where does this pathology live, and how can we go get it, and how can we make this better. And so I feel incredibly blessed to not only have these really smart people working with me, but not only that, they take excellent care of our patients. They listen, they understand, they really try to make sure that they're focusing on what's important to the patient. They try to educate our patients incredibly well. I always say we're like the worst salespeople ever. We don't sell anything because we're nurses. That's not what we're trained to do. That's not what we do. But what we love doing is educating our patients on all the options out there. And they might be options that we don't offer. And if we don't offer it, we make sure that we know who in town does the best work, or who even in the country we can send them to that does the best work for that. So sometimes it's things that we don't even offer, but we make sure that we know that that patient has the information if that's one of the choices that they choose to make. And so we want them to know about everything that's offered, what we offer, and then how to move forward and how to make those decisions. And we help them with that, instead of just saying, oh, this is the hammer that we have, and so everything looks like a nail. And so maybe it's not the best thing for you, but this is what we have to offer, and so this is what we're going to do. We have a lot of patients that come in that really are wanting a surgical result. And so we have that discussion with them. And we have plastic surgeons that we work with that do beautiful work, amazing work. And so sometimes it's something that they want to do with us, and then sometimes they have a consultation with someone else. But we want to make sure also that we're educated on all of the options out there and what the best ones are for that patient. And so I think that because we take the journey with them, and because we, are very much all about that educational process, and we have smart patients, they're going to make the right decision for themselves. We just help them along with that.
Got it. Well, it sounds like you have a great team and great people, and that's a really important part of it. You were talking about education, and I actually want to dive deeper into that, as far as you teach other medical practitioners how, like, best practices. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
So teaching is one of my favorite things to do. I always say like, oh, I practice, I teach, I do both of them. But I never feel like either one is a burden. Like neither of them feel like jobs for me because I really do enjoy both aspects. And I think because I do both, I never get sick of one or the other. So so I love being with my patients, and I'm doing that, part of the time. And then the other part of the time, I'm with either nurse practitioner students or I'm with providers like myself who are just trying to get better at their craft and try to understand more about these energy-based devices, more about injectables, more about the art of looking at a patient and listening to what it is that they're looking for, and then learning how to deliver those results. And sometimes it's even delivering those results within the patient's budget. So there's a lot of factors that you have to consider. And that takes time and effort and collaboration with all sorts of individuals. So even though I teach, I also love hearing from others. I love learning from anyone who is wanting to have a discussion and chat about some of the things they do that are turning out really well and that they're getting great results for their patients with. And I'm happy to share what we're doing as well. I feel like anytime we're taking good care of patients, it's always going to be a wonderful thing. I know that there's kind of this pervasive, like, oh, competition, we're competitive. I don't really feel like that. I feel like if we're all doing a great job, there's plenty of faces out there and there's plenty of people that want to, interact with us and receive treatments. And so why not make sure everyone's doing it the best that they can?
Now, we talked about education on educating your team, educating yourself, educating other practitioners. So how do you approach educating your patients about your services, the benefits? Because I'm sure you get some people that come in, maybe they have no idea what treatments you're offering or don't really know what they're really looking for. So how do you approach someone in that situation where they're not quite sure? Maybe there's a little bit of reservation there.
Daniel, it's so challenging because they come into the practice and it's almost like drinking from a fire hose with information, and that's challenging. And then we're using words and terms that we have to, define, and that's challenging too. So it's almost like they're coming to school when they come in. So I try to use a lot of analogies when I'm teaching my patients. We're in the Midwest, so construction analogies are great, lawn care analogies are great, and automotive. So I try to stick with those. Sometimes we're talking about a laser treatment and we talk about how, when you want to grow grass well, you can't just mow or just aerate, you have to do both. And so we have a laser that does more of the aeration of the skin, and then we have a laser that does more of the lawn mowing. And so utilizing a combination of those two is what's gonna help the skin look better, act better, function better. And so I don't necessarily, get into the nitty gritty of the laser wavelengths and what they do and why we combine them unless a patient really wants to hear about that. And then I'm happy to get down to the molecular level with that. But most patients want to know, what is the best treatment for me? For my concerns, what's the best treatment? How many treatments do I need? And what can I expect as far as results and the healing process? And that's what I try to focus on in our consultations, is not so much, we've got this and we've got this and we've got this and we've got this. Which one do you want to do? Well, they're like, I don't know. Yeah. I want to focus more on what is the result that you're looking for? Because that's what I want to deliver. I want to deliver the result that they're looking for. Or we have folks that come in and they say, I want this type of filler. This is the type of filler I want. And it's because they've seen an ad or they've talked to somebody who's had that. And they're like, that's what I really want. What they're telling me, what I'm hearing in my head is, I want to look better. I want my skin to look better. I want my volume to look better that I've lost. And so then it becomes, kind of a little bit of a backpedal. And so what are you looking for from that filler specifically? What kind of result are you looking for? And then let's talk about some of the other things we have too, so we can make the best choice for you. Sometimes it's not all about just that one thing, or what their friend got might not be the same thing as they need or is going to do the best job for them. And so it's really all about just having an open discussion and finding out, kind of what that base root issue is of why they came in, and then them trusting us and saying, this is going to be the best protocol for you. And sometimes it's a matter of, okay, how long do we have to get this result for you? Or do you have a wedding in 6 weeks that you're wanting to look great for? Is this just you're now an empty nester and it's time to spend some money on yourself because you've taken care of your family for so long and now you want to do a little bit of self-care? Is it that, you're just wanting to kind of dip your toe in the waters of it a little bit and start slow? One of our nurse practitioners always says, we can get from point A to point Z. Do you want to stop at every letter along the way? Do you want to stop at every vowel? Or do you want to take like the bullet train from A to Z? Like we can do all of those things. It just depends on, your budget, your timeline, your level of comfort with what we're doing.
That's a great explanation. Now, we talked about a little bit of cosmetic surgery before, and could you describe in your own words, how does a medical spa differ from your traditional cosmetic surgery center?
So when you come into a med spa, we have non-surgical solutions for skin problems, skin health, volume loss. And so, when you are, I would say between the ages of, like that early teen years to mid 20s, most of those patients are focused on things like acne and pigmentation or hyperpigmentation from acne, sometimes scarring from acne in the past. Sometimes they have surgical scars, or they're just looking to take really good care of their skin. Like their skin is a priority to them, and they want to make sure they're on all the right products now so that they don't see wrinkles down the road. And so I kind of put them into one category. That's a wonderful patient for a med spa because they don't need anything surgical. And hopefully we can do enough for them non-surgically to either, kind of stave off surgery long-term, or, they may never need that depending on, how our technology is moving. I never say never. In the next few years, we could have some amazing breakthroughs in technology where we can keep people off of the OR table even longer. In those middle years, I would say between like 25 and 45, that's when we're really starting to see that aging process, because at about 25, our collagen starts taking a dive. Mm-hmm. And so that's usually when people come to us and say, I'm seeing lines, I'm seeing wrinkles, I'm seeing skin laxity. Oh, and by the way, I still have the marks from my acne from the past, and I'd like to, kind of fix that. Also, my neck's starting to get crepey. I'm starting to feel badly about my neck, and I'm starting to see signs of aging, and I'm starting to see lines, and I don't know where that came from. And oh, by the way, that happened overnight. And it didn't happen overnight. It's simply that our brains are really smart, and however you see yourself in the mirror is simply how you look. And so it takes for something to catch your notice, and then you start really looking and you're like, oh, wait, where did that come from? It's just that it wasn't noticeable before. And so those middle-aged range years between 25 and 45, that is another amazing med spa patient, because we can start doing things that build collagen, that, kind of take a decade or so off of your skin by reversing sun damage, by really helping kind of plump up your skin, tighten it where it needs tightened. We can tighten in millimeters, but you really need surgery to tighten in inches. And so that's why really I would say between maybe 50 and, up that age group, that's really where those, I think, tough conversations come in, because we can offer things in the med spa that will create improvement for them in a percentage base that is typically between, I would say, 20 and 80%, depending on the person, depending on the treatment, and how well their skin was cared for before. If this is their first foray into taking care of their skin, it's going to take more treatments, it's going to take more products and more time to get them to where they want to be. And we're happy to take, again, that journey with them, and we're happy to improve that. But when someone comes and they sit in our chair and they start doing this, we call that a positive facelift sign, where they start pushing their skin up and say, I just wish my face looked like this. That's a big red flag for us, that we need to make sure that they have a consultation with a plastic surgeon to understand what their choices are and what their options are in plastic surgery, as well as what we have to offer, along with the percentage of improvement we feel we can get, because they need to know all of those options. Obviously, there's an option to do nothing, right? You can say, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to get things off the shelf at the grocery store and take my chances. But even with surgery, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get skin health improvement. So a lot of times we are working hand in hand with our plastic surgery colleagues, and as they are tightening the skin and as they are using fat grafting to revolumize certain areas, then we come in after and we make sure we're quote unquote dry cleaning the skin. They're tailoring it, we're dry cleaning. And it really takes both of those to create that nice youthful appearance to the skin. If you're just taking and tightening sun damaged skin, you're still not going to look youthful. You're just going to look like you have sun damaged skin that has been surgically made to look tighter. And so, you know, it's not an either or in most situations. It's really, where do you want to start first? Do you want to start with surgical tightening? Would you rather start with getting your skin healthier? That way it's healing a little bit faster from those surgeries and healing a little bit better. So a lot of times it's not an either or, we're working hand in hand with those folks.
Got it. I love your analogies, by the way. It's very easy to understand and follow. Now, I'm sure you've gotten some very challenging cases in your experience. So could you talk about maybe one or two stories of where you had a situation where it was just really, really tough, but you were able to figure out a way to make it work and get the patient a successful outcome?
One of my favorite patients was an acne patient, and you know, she was just close to my heart. And when she came in, she didn't want to take any of her makeup off. She absolutely refused to get a picture taken. And to me, those are, you know, indications that this is now a physical issue that has turned into something that is stressful for them on an emotional and mental level. If you are, you know, feeling so badly about that you don't want to take off your makeup, I'm concerned on more than just a pathological level of acne. I am concerned about you as a person. And so she said, nope, I'm not going to take my makeup off. I never take my makeup off. I sleep in my makeup because I don't want my fiance to see my skin. So those were things that, I mean, that broke my heart to hear this young, gorgeous girl, you know, saying that she doesn't even feel comfortable enough to take her makeup off to go to sleep, was concerning. And so I knew, though, that based on what I could see of her skin, that we could help her. I knew that we could help her. And so we got her on a good process with what's called our Forever Clear package. It's an acne package that we offer that's 8 appointments, and we do them weekly typically. Sometimes it's every other week. Sometimes it's even twice in 1 week, depending on what their timetable is. We have college kids that come home from school, they're living different, they're eating different, and now they need some acne treatments, and we can get them in that 1 month that they have between like, you know, in Christmas break or, you know, in the summer, we can help them. And so I knew that this treatment process would work really well for her. And she really didn't make eye contact with us well. She was, you know, dressed in sweats, which, hey, I like sweats too. But, you know, typically when you're coming to an appointment, you know, I mean, you dress up a little bit, you know, try again to look professional or, you know, just well-groomed. And you could tell that she just was not feeling good about herself. The body language, the attire, you know, the things that she was saying to us. And this was really hard for her. You could tell that she was bearing her soul to us. And I don't take that responsibility lightly. I understand that they are coming to me with their biggest insecurities, and that's really hard. And so one of the things that I told her is that when I looked at her, I just saw her beautiful eyes, because truly when she looked at me, she had these amazing eyes. And what happens when you have other things that are distracting, like scars, different things like that, it takes the person's focus away. Your eye naturally goes to those other things that you're looking at. And so a lot of patients tell me, I feel like everyone's just staring at my acne. It's not that they mean to, it's just that it's human nature for your eye to go there. And I'm like, I want anything that we do to help your skin get healthier so that when people look at you, they're looking you in the eye. And she was a very well-educated gal, PhD, researched in vaccines as her job. I mean, she knew that there were things out there to help her, and that's why she sought us out. And I was grateful for that too. And so she went through this 8-week process, and at the end, she acted and looked like a different person simply from how she was carrying herself. Yes, her acne was essentially gone. She was having maybe just a couple breakouts every so often on her chin after that, but the hyperpigmentation that she had from the healing acne was gone. The active breakouts were gone. We'd worked a little bit on her scarring. It was very minimal, but she saw it and it bothered her. And we were working on that as well. When she came to us, her skin looked better. It looked healthier. She looked happier. She was making eye contact. She definitely was much better dressed. She said that she felt like her life had changed, that she didn't have to wake up every morning and quickly cover everything that was on her skin and wear makeup to bed anymore. And she was crying when she was telling us this. I mean, it was emotional for like us. It was emotional for my staff. When we see them look in at the Visio, which is our picture analysis, and they see where they were and they see where they are now, they tend to get very emotional if it's something that has hit them, I would say, and really affected their heart. And when we get to be part of that, I feel like that's the best part of my job. I feel like every time I have one of those patients, I'm like, this is why we do what we do. Like, this is what we live for. These patients are exactly who we want to help. Those ones that no matter what the issue is, they are not happy putting their face forward to the world. And that is the first thing that everyone sees. No matter what profession you're in, if you are forward facing in the public, that is the first thing that everyone sees. And if you're not feeling good about it, it's going to show. It's going to show in your self-confidence. It's going to show in the way that you carry yourself, all of your communication. And so when we can do that for a patient, I feel like it's the best day ever.
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic story. I mean, just not only just the physical side of it, but the psychological side, the mental side of it. I mean, it's just incredible. Like, you're able to turn this person's life around. So it's incredible. Now, Dr. Hennessey, I do have one last question for you, but before I ask it, I want to point people over to your website at www.blushnwo.com. Now, last question is, what would you say is the most important piece of advice you can give to someone who's maybe on the fence about getting some type of aesthetic treatment or procedure done, but there's something holding them back?
I think it's really important that, first of all, you do your research. You need to make sure that when you are, researching practices, med spas especially, that you know that you're going to see a medical professional. Most states, not all, but most states require you to have, a medical appointment with one of the providers in their practice to make sure that you are physically healthy and that you are able to undergo the types of procedures that you're going to talk about in your consultation. And that's really important, whether that's past dental history, surgery and history, past surgeries on the skin, on the face, a history of acne. Sometimes it's things like a history of thyroid cancer, PCOS. There is a whole medical component to med spa. So I think sometimes people forget this is a medical spa. So we're doing medical treatments on patients. And so it's really important that you see a medical professional that's well-trained, and not just well-trained. It's great that they have their degree and that they have their certifications, but you want to know that they continue to train, that, they're not still working off of protocols from 25 years ago. It's great to have 25 years experience, but if you're still doing things the way they did 25 years ago, that's not necessarily the best way. So you want to know not only what their primary certifications and qualifications are medically, but also that they're continuing to learn and continuing that education. One thing that I don't hear about very often, and I don't know if I'm going to get backlash for saying this, but I think it's also important, if you are looking for injections, if you are looking for filler and for neuromodulators, it's important to look at the people who are working in the practice and make sure that you enjoy that aesthetic, because that is their style. The way that folks look that work in that establishment is typically the style that they inject in. It's what they enjoy on themselves. And so it's what they're going to recommend for you. So I always say it's important to kind of take a look at them as well and say, is that the look I'm going for? Does that match what I'm wanting? I think that a lot of times people just say, oh, this is going to be the cheapest place to go. I'm just going to go there. Like, they have Botox for $8 a unit, or, whatever it might be. Typically, when you see something that's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And so this is your face you're talking about. So like, I get using Groupon for, I don't know, when we were in New Orleans, we did like a ghost tour on a Groupon. Like, that's a great use of Groupon. But Groupon for a medical procedure terrifies me. And so make sure that you go somewhere that, isn't overcharging necessarily, but if it's the cheapest place in town, you have to wonder, is this a brand new injector? Is it someone that doesn't have a lot of experience? Are they using foreign products that aren't FDA approved? And all of these things are questions you should be asking. How long have you been injecting? Do you have before and after pictures of patients who look like me, who you've injected in the past, and what they look like before and what they look like now? What is your training in lasers? Do you have pictures of patients that look like me that are my age, of before and after of my same concerns? Those are all questions that you should be asking. And on sometimes you look at the website and it's all there, right? Or you look at the Instagram page and it's all there. But sometimes you have to ask the questions, and don't feel shy about that. Don't think that you are causing trouble. But in a consultation process, it is just as much about you asking those questions and making sure it's a good fit as it is for that provider to make sure that they have the tools in their practice to help you. And so the more honest you can be about your expectations, and the more honest they can be about the results that they can get for you, or that they believe they can achieve for you, the better that relationship is going to be. If you have any concerns, any questions before or after your medical procedure or your injectables, make sure you reach out. So, don't just say, gosh, I'm really unhappy with this result and I'm just going to go somewhere else. Go back to that same injector provider, and ask those questions. Sometimes it's a quick and easy fix. Sometimes they don't know that they've been doing this incorrectly because nobody has approached them with it. So experience is really important. Continuing education is really important. The general aesthetic is really important. And making sure that they take the time to answer your questions and set those realistic expectations with you is really important.
Okay, got it. Well, there you have it. Dr. Hennessey sharing her experience. Now, Dr. Hennessey, where can people contact you in your practice?
So the best place is our website. We also have an app, the Blush Aesthetics app. And, we have all of our contact information in there. You can read about all of our providers there. And there is a place there that you can schedule a consultation appointment with us. Those are complimentary. We don't charge for consultations. We're excited to meet you. We're happy to provide an hour of time for us to get to know each other and make sure that it's a good fit for both of us, and really let you know what your options are. And so we don't charge for that. It's one of those things that we provide at no charge as a complimentary service. And you can come in and get that Visia picture analysis. We can see what's going on under your skin. So you can, if you're comfortable, go ahead and you can book an appointment right there for a consultation. If you feel like you want to know a little bit more, you can call us at 419-520-SKIN. But I really feel like the best place to research us is the website at blushnwo.com.
Okay, perfect. Well, great. Thanks for being on the show, Dr. Hennessey, and sharing your message.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Beauty Talk podcast. Any questions, please contact the practice directly with the contact information provided during the show. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.